And it looks like we're live. Hi everyone. I know it has been a while since I have gone live, and there are very good reasons for that. I've had a lot going on behind the scenes. I'm working on quite a few different things, and I'm going to be sharing a lot of that with you in the very near future. But I'm back, and I know you all missed me, right? I know you did. So anyway, a little bit of housekeeping. If you are watching from Facebook, make sure you give StreamYard permission to show your comments here. Because I'm streaming from StreamYard, so you have to give StreamYard permission to show your comments from Facebook. Otherwise, I won't be able to see them here. So you simply go to streamyard.com/Facebook, answer a couple questions, and it'll give StreamYard permission to show your comments here, and that way I'll be able to follow them. But I also have an administrator with me who's going to be kind of following some of the questions and giving them to me as they arise so that I'll be able to answer them. For those of you who are coming on, welcome and thank you for coming. I'm hoping that tonight will be a very informational for you. And it's stuff I've talked about before, but I think I'll go into a little deeper level tonight. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Gina Welds. You've noticed that there might have been a slight name change, and there's good reason for that, but we won't really go into that. I'm back to my maiden name. That is all that is. And it's not that I recently got a divorce. I've been divorced for many years, but I decided to go back to my maiden name. So it's the same me, just a slight change in my name. So don't get confused. Okay. So like I said, it's been a while since I've gone live. I'm actually here at 1210 Millennium Parkway in Brandon. So if you're in the vicinity and you want to just stop in, feel free. I'm going to be here till around 8 o'clock or until this live stream is finished and I've answered all of your questions. All right, so tonight, like I said, we're going to be talking about lupus skincare. And I want to start a little bit, well, let me introduce myself first. That's what we're talking about, right? Many years ago, I was introduced, I don't even remember when now, I was diagnosed with lupus. But let me tell you all of the stuff I went through first before lupus was even a diagnosis. So you have an idea of how far I've actually come. For me to be able to talk to you about what can help with lupus skin issues, it's because I've been there, gone through it, healed from it, and here I am telling you what you could try that it may work, it may not work, because with lupus, every person is different. So what works for me may not necessarily work for you, and what work for you may not necessarily work for the other person. It was a whole lot of trial and error over the years, but I can sit here and tell you that my body is free from lupus based on actual studies that my doctor did with me. And she looked at me and she said, if I hadn't seen your previous blood work when you were first diagnosed and your current, which was like 3 or 4 years ago, and your current blood work, I would not believe it. Because, I'm sure that if you've been diagnosed with lupus or some other autoimmune condition, you've been told there's no cure. Well, I beg to differ. Okay, so I have been through the journey and I'm sitting here, and what I'm going to do to prove this point is I'm going to send you to different articles that I've written with the detailed pictures of what I used to look like. And tonight we're talking about skin. So I'm going to send you to a particular website, and it's on a platform called Hub Pages where I write. I did an article years ago when I was first diagnosed, and I talked about my lupus diagnosis and all of the skin issues that I went through, and I documented everything. There are pictures on there that show what I used to look like. So I understand, for those of you who when you wake up with the malar rash all over your skin. For me, it was the butterfly rash and waking up with my eyes like swollen shut, or my face just being really stiff, to where when I smile, it looked really bad. And that I was also tested for scleroderma. I'm sure some of you are familiar with that, basically where your skin becomes hardened, because they thought that I had also was experiencing scleroderma. I can never pronounce that word. Scleroderma, which literally means hardening of the skin. It turned out to not be that, but I've been through a lot of what you may be experiencing, and I'm here to tell you that you don't have to live like that, okay? So, again, I'm here at 1210 Millennium Parkway in Brandon. If you want to just come and hang out with me, feel free, but I'm also doing this live because this is a free event, and this is going to be a monthly event as well. So next month, I'll post when I'm going to be here for this particular thing. I'm doing something I think it's every week, related to lupus. And you'll know what I'm talking about, so you can decide, well, do I want to go to that? Yeah, maybe. And then you can just show up. But I'll also, because these are free events, I'll also post the information on the live stream as well. All right. So lupus skincare. I like having been there, that kind of gives me a little bit of experience to be able to talk about this. But I've also, because I've experienced it, I also studied a lot about different things that helped me, and that range from, if you see my title, complementary therapist practitioner, you're probably wondering, what the heck does that mean? It basically means I tried a lot of things, studied a lot of things, have certifications in a lot of things. That helps me, right? The first thing I did was I started to research a lot of different herbs and essential oils that was helping me with lupus in general. But then I found a lot of things that helped with the skin. So I'll talk a little bit about those tonight. I don't even remember when I was first diagnosed with lupus, to be honest, but I can tell you what led up to the lupus diagnosis. I was first diagnosed with, back in 2000, I was diagnosed with asthma. Back in 2008, I was diagnosed with emphysema. They switched from asthma to emphysema. And back in 2000, I was also diagnosed with atrial fibrillation, and that was still like a heart issue. I was diagnosed with global sensory-motor polyneuropathy. That's a mouthful. In short, neuropathy, nerve damage, lots of it. And I got to a point where I couldn't walk at one point. I was using a cane a lot. I was using a motorized chair whenever we went to, I think that's what's called, motorized wheelchair, whenever we go grocery shopping. I couldn't walk maybe 15, 20 feet to a mailbox without being completely out of breath and being in excruciating pain, because it literally felt like I was walking on pins and needles all the time. If I went to the beach, my feet would get seriously blistered because I couldn't feel the hot sand. So I would end up with burns on the bottom of my feet. So going to the beach was, you get your hat and a long sleeve shirt and long clothing and shoes. So, because I'm sure you're familiar, if you've been diagnosed with lupus, you know that being in the sun is kind of a no-no. I've gotten to where I can do that now, but initially I was not able to. So neuropathy was really bad. It was rampant throughout my body, and it was my neurologist who actually suggested that I get diagnosed, that I get tested for lupus. And that's what led to my diagnosis. But prior to that, I was also diagnosed with costochondritis, which is literally arthritis in the rib cage. And that was back in 2013. Back in 2012, I was diagnosed with pernicious anemia, clinical depression, a degenerative spine. Basically means that I had arthritis throughout my spine. And a host of other things, a ton of things. But my neurologist, when he saw, let me put this on for a second. When he saw how bad the neuropathy was, he looked at me. I can still remember, we were standing looking at this amazing view of a lake and there are birds flying. And he had just really traumatized me with this long needle. It was my birthday. May 3rd, I did what was part 1 of the neurological test. The next day, May 4th, was my birthday, and I went in. He looked at me. He said, "Why are you here?" Don't you know what I'm about to do to you? And I said, well, you told me I need to come in for part 2, which is today. And he said, again, why are you here? You have any idea what I'm about to do to you? And I got the point after that, and he looked at me, he said, happy birthday. Why are you here? Do you have any idea what I'm about to do to you? And I said, listen, you told me I needed to come back for part 2. I'm here, okay? About 35 minutes, 40 minutes later, I understood why he kept asking me why I was there. It was the most painful experience. And at the end of it, I managed to get up off the table, walk to a window, tears are kind of rolling down my face because it was painful. And he came over, he stood beside me, we looked out at the same beautiful view. He said, for somebody in your physical health, as in, he knew that I was training in martial arts. By that time, I had already received my black belt. He knew that I'd been running, as in, like cross country, that type of thing. So he knew that I was physically fit. But the body that I had did not fit the physical or the health conditions that he was seeing. So after that, he said, I'm going to recommend to your doctor, to your primary doctor, that you get tested for lupus. So went back to my primary doctor a couple of days later, get tested once, came out to be positive. My doctor didn't believe it, so got tested again. This time it took about 3 weeks, got sent off to a special clinic. Results came back confirming lupus. And for this one, it was SLE lupus, which is systemic lupus erythematosus. That's the long term. Basically means that the lupus was throughout my body. There's different kinds of lupus. There's discoid lupus, which affects your skin only. And if you're familiar with Seal, the singer, and the scars that are on his face, that is from discoid lupus. So the type of lupus that I have, and a lot of my people who I've connected with over the years, they've been diagnosed with SLE. There are also people who have been diagnosed with, there's a special one where it attacks only the kidneys, and if you know Nick Cannon, that is the type of lupus that he was diagnosed with. Some of us are lucky, if you call it that, and we get the SLE kind, which basically attacks the whole body. So anyway, long story short, the diagnosis came back, and my doctor looked at me and said, and you probably heard it, said, this type of lupus is incurable. You're going to live with it for the rest of your life, or unless it kills you. And you're going to be put on this particular medication for the rest of your life. And with everything that you've got going on, you're probably going to be dead by the time you're 45. My doctor actually said that to me. Just so you know, I'm 52, just celebrated my 52nd birthday last month. So that's what, 7 years past. Don't ever let anybody tell you when you're going to live or die, okay? Let's just put that out there. But anyway, I fired my doctor. I looked at him point blank and I said, don't ever speak negativity over my life. Thank you very much. Now bye. And I ended up getting another doctor, another primary doctor, and I actually ended up getting a different neurologist as well. I woke up one morning and I took one look at myself. I was in horrible pain, could barely move. I'm cutting out a lot just to kind of jump into what I want to talk about tonight. But to give you an idea, just that I'm talking to you from a place of experience. I got up one morning, Saturday morning, feeling absolutely horrible. My face was swollen. I could barely walk, but I managed to drive myself and my kids, my 2 youngest kids, to this herbalist, because I'd gotten really tired of the pharmaceutical meds. I had been put on 2 particular ones, one for the heart, one for the lupus, and a bunch of others. I wish I could have. I'm going to pick a day and bring in the bag of pharmaceuticals that I was actually on, because I do have them, but they're in storage. I don't keep them with me. And I wanted to have them to be able to show you what I was on prior to coming off of them, all of them. But that particular day, I took what I was told to take, which was the heart medication and the lupus medication. My heart medication was actually changed like a few days before to something different. And I walked into that herbalist that morning and I just felt horrible. I just felt really, really sick. And talked to her about what was happening with me. And she came up with a few things, handed it to me, I paid for it. But I was in and out of the store. And for those of you who have heard this story before, bear with me because I know that there are a lot of people who are new on here. So at one point, I ended up collapsing, ended up in the emergency room, and had my second near-death experience. And what caused it was actually the pharmaceuticals that I took that particular morning. And the doctor actually said to me that the two medications should never even have been prescribed together. So that was even more confirmation that I really needed to do something serious. And I'd gotten to a point where I was done with lupus trying to take me over and take me out. So that day was when I really started my journey into more natural healing. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today as far as the skin is concerned. One of the things that I did was I started to study traditional Chinese medicine. And if you're on here and you're new to me and you're new to following me, I do have a lupus page called Beating Lupus the Natural Way, or Beating Autoimmunity the Natural Way. And you'll see that there are a lot of things that I post on there that are kind of unconventional, because I'm not a conventional person. I've studied so many different therapies that worked for me, and I've shared that, and you might be open to some, you may not be open to some. None of them are, going to be evil by a long shot. So when I say you might be open to some, it doesn't necessarily mean that. It just means that you might not necessarily have even heard of some of them. But traditional Chinese medicine was one of the practices that I actually studied. And two of the things that I learned about was face mapping and tongue mapping. And face mapping is basically a way of looking at your skin and being able to tell what's going on in the rest of your body. Tongue mapping is just the tongue version of the face. But you can learn so much by just looking at your skin and looking at areas where you may be experiencing issues, and you'll know what's going on inside of your body. And the day that I figured this out, I actually went to my primary doctor, and I said to him, I think there's something wrong with my liver. And he looked at me and said, how in the world could you possibly know that there's something wrong with your liver? Because I wanted to test out, even though I was studying this and I knew that, traditional Chinese medicine has been around for thousands of years, I can be a skeptic. So I wanted to test this thing out. So there's one area in my face, in this triangular area right here between the eyes, that I always have like little bumps that would appear, always. And according to traditional Chinese medicine, that is the area for the liver, right in here. So I said, okay, let me test this theory, or, this thing according to traditional Chinese medicine. And I went to my doctor and I said, I think there's something going on with my liver. And he said, well, you couldn't possibly know that. I mean, you're not some expert, right? So I said, but I think there is. And I really believe there is. So guess what? He decided, okay, you really want me to put you under and, run the CT scan or whatever it is that they did at the time. I think it was a CT scan. And turns out that there was actually something wrong with my liver. I won't go into any details, but I've since done a lot of herbal therapies to kind of clean my liver, because if you know your liver, it is one of it's the biggest organ inside your body, right? And it is important in a lot of things, especially when it comes to detox. And my liver had some issues, which I would not have figured out until I actually studied the traditional Chinese medicine and face mapping. Because I had no symptoms whatsoever. Yes, I'd been diagnosed with lupus, but the liver issue was not something that there was no pain, nothing. But when they figured, when I came in and my doctor actually gave in and decided to run this test, they did discover. So that confirmed, said, okay, there is something to this traditional Chinese medicine as far as face mapping is concerned. So now, anytime something appears on my skin, I use that, the traditional Chinese medicine and the face mapping to determine what is going on in my body and decide from there what I can work with in order to heal that particular part. The same thing, and we'll talk about this in another stream. The same thing with reflexology. If you're familiar with reflexology, it has to do with the feet. It's said that there are particular areas on the bottom of your feet that correlate to certain areas of your body. And let's go back to the face. I'm going to share with you the face part. I did draw something. All right, so the liver, like I said, is like right here in between the eyebrows, right? And I used to have those tiny little bumps that would appear in that area. If you have digestive issues, the small intestine would appear like a triangle on your forehead, okay? Like a triangle in this area. So that would be your small intestine. Your pancreas is your nose. If you have any kind of issues appearing on your nose, that would be related to your pancreas. If you have stomach issues, you'll notice that you have issues here on your cheeks. You might have acne that would break out. You may have rosacea that would break out, but you have something here on your cheeks. And that's with the stomach area. Now, the digestive system overall is where they say your immune system, or the majority of your immune system lives, right? But your stomach would show right here. Your gallbladder, if you find that you have acne or some kind of issue breakout along these areas, that is said to be your gallbladder. All right. The large intestines, now I said your stomach is here. Your large intestines, if you have issues with your colon, further down, those issues would appear like in this area here. Your liver would appear, not your liver, your lungs, if you have issues with your lungs, those would appear like along the edges here. And if you have issues with your pelvic organs, as in your ovaries, your uterus, that area, that's gonna appear here. So if you're a female and you have like PMS, and you can always tell when that time of the month is coming because you tend to have breakouts. A lot of women I know would tend to break out like here along the chin and up this area, right? So that would be along with the pelvic areas. Your bladder, if you have issues with your bladder, that would appear like right here, right alongside where the small intestine is. So your small intestine is in the triangular area, and then your bladder would be like along there. Kidneys. If you have issues with your kidneys, chances are you're going to have really puffy eyes, like underneath your eyes are going to be like kind of puffy. And that's an indication that you may have some kidney issues. If you don't have that, it doesn't mean that you don't have kidney issues, but chances are you'll have really puffy or dark circles underneath your eyes if you have some kind of kidney issues. And this is stuff that you can go and find on the internet. So look it up, take a look at some traditional Chinese medicine, and then just type in face mapping, and you will be able to look at that and test it out for yourself and see if it works. It may work for you, it may not work for you, but I found that it is a very accurate practice. And this is something that I have been looking at for at least the last 8 years as I was studying. So the other part is, I forgot to mention one thing. The heart, if you have any kind of heart issues, that would tend to appear along the top of the upper lip, and it also tends to appear above the eyebrows. Okay, so one of the things that I did notice that whenever the type of heart issue that I was diagnosed with has to do with a really fast heartbeat, and whenever it would get to a point of being like super fast, I would notice I would get a mild breakout just above the eyebrows, and that was an indication, it's time to go and see my cardiologist because something was happening. Several years back, I ended up getting an implant. It's a loop recorder, which records my heart activity, and it goes back to my cardiologist and they can basically kind of see what's going on. I don't have anything anatomically wrong with the heart. It just beats too fast. And I'd like to keep a few of my heartbeats. I don't want them to kind of run out too quickly. You know what I mean? So, so that gives you an idea of the face mapping. And as far as that is concerned, there are a couple of people who've worked with me in this area, and what they do, if you would like to get a little bit more, or you'd like to connect with me like one-on-one, some people actually connect with me using the, FaceTime. That way I can see their skin and I can see exactly what's going on. Other people choose to just take a picture and send to me, and then I can work with them in that way. And what I've done over the years is I've created an oil blend, an essential oil blend that I've been using for many, many years. It has actually worked. It's not the same for everyone because, like I said, lupus affects their skin in different ways. So the essential oils that I work with are the ones that are geared towards the different, whatever kind of internal issues might be going on. So the blend that I would create for someone would be geared towards whatever issues they might be having, right? So it's not it's not like this cookie cutter blend that I've created. And I'll talk a little bit more about different products that you can work with a little later on. So let's go to the tongue mapping part. If you stick your tongue out, you will most likely see either indentations, or you'd see maybe some cracks down the middle, maybe teeth impressions, or you'll see some dryness. Maybe your tongue is like really white. Those are all indications of things that are going on within the body. And tongue mapping is just, like I said, another version of the face mapping. But if nothing is visible on your skin, chances are it could be visible on your tongue. That could be an indication of your internal health. So again, if you stick your tongue out, right at the very back is where your kidney, if you have any issues with your kidneys, it would be at the very back, and it might show up like in bumps, a lot of really bumpy things. And I noticed that with me years back whenever I had to go to I guess it's called a urologist, the kidney specialist, nephrologist, that's it. I had to go and visit one because I noticed that there was, these really big bumps toward the back. And again, they don't believe me when I show up there and say, look, I think there's something wrong with my kidneys. Why? You're not an expert. But whenever they test, they found that there was a blockage, and then I knew exactly what to do to relieve that blockage. It wasn't a kidney stone, but there was something was growing there that was preventing the one kidney from, I guess, releasing all of the urine to where it needed to go. So I started to work with certain herbs and managed to clear all of that up. But again, it was, the doctor didn't believe me. And it's just proved to me that these old traditional ways of healing and of determining health really do work. And I've been trying to, get that message across that, yes, there is a place for pharmaceuticals, but please study these things. There is a reason why they have survived for thousands of years. So study them, find out what works, find out how they work, and implement them in a way that will work for you in addition to your pharmaceuticals. I'm not saying get off of your pharmaceuticals, because there is a place for that. There was a point where I was like, it's not for me. And pharmaceuticals is not for me. But I've learned that, there are people with lupus who it would take a long time to get off all of the pharmaceutical medications. So you have to work gradually adding in different or more natural therapies in addition to the pharmaceuticals. I hope that makes sense. All right. So back to the tongue. Toward the middle of the tongue is where your spleen and the stomach would be located. So if you look in the center of your tongue and you notice that there's any dryness, a lot of people tend to have cracking, and that's a clear indication that you have something going on in your digestive system. Okay? Along the sides of your tongue would be where your lungs and the gallbladder are located, or would be the indicator, would be along the sides. And when I was first diagnosed way back with emphysema, and you probably can tell I don't have any kind of breathing issues because it's not a concern anymore. I've healed from all of these things that I'm talking about. But anytime I would have a flare up, I would always see the sides of my tongue would have the indentation of my teeth. And that was because my tongue would swell up and would press against my teeth. And then that would be an indication, oh, there's something going on. And it would typically be with my lungs. But I won't go into any detail right now about any of that. Let's just talk about the skin. But I've healed from everything. The only thing that I really, I still get treatment for, or I shouldn't say that, this only thing I really take any kind of pharmaceutical for is the pernicious anemia, which I was diagnosed with back in, I think it was 2012, I believe. And the reason is that I can't get, it's a B12 deficiency. I cannot get B12 from anything. I can't eat the foods to get the B12. I can't take the B12 tablets. It doesn't work for me. I've tried everything, and the only thing that works is getting a B12 injection, and I've talked about that before. So I get a B12 shot every month because my body just doesn't, or my stomach, I should say, doesn't have what's called the intrinsic factor to absorb a B12 from food or from the capsules. Even the one where you put under the tongue, nothing worked for me. So I still have to take the B12 shot every single month, and my heart is still monitored regularly, and I still get all of my checkups, but it's just for a checkup. I go in for my checkups. I'm not taking any kind of pharmaceuticals, like I said, except for that B12 shot. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to post them in Facebook. They will pop in here on StreamYard, and I'll be able to see them and respond to them. If they don't pop up here, I will certainly get to them whenever the live stream is finished. So when it comes to the tongue mapping, things you want to look for as far as the tongue is concerned is whiteness. There might be like a white film on your tongue. There could be cracking. There could be like, you might see some grooves on your tongue. Teeth marks, like I mentioned, you know, if your tongue gets swollen, then it could press against your teeth. You end up with teeth marks that are showing. You could also have tiny little dots or little red marks, little red dots that could show up on, or they could be really big. If you look toward the back, they could be much larger than just a tiny little dot. So tongue mapping, face mapping are two therapies that you could look into to kind of help along with your, you know, what your doctor's treatment or therapy is. Because I always say, be your own advocate for your health. Don't leave your health in the hands of anyone else. You have the power to heal. The body is an amazing thing. It was designed to heal itself, but we are not told that. The body is designed to heal. If you were to get a cut right now, let's say you got a cut along the top of your hand, and you sat there and you looked at this cut for 72 hours, what will happen? I mean, you haven't done anything. You don't put Neosporin on there. You don't put anything on there. You just leave it. You just look at it for 72 hours. What happens? It forms a scab. How does it form a scab? Because your body sends out, you know, all of these little warriors, and they start to put your skin back together. Give it a couple weeks. All you're left with is a scar, if anything, because the body is designed to heal itself. But we have bombarded it with so much stuff, right? And we end up with a lot of these illnesses, and then we're told that there is no cure for these illnesses when that is really not true. But I'm going to get off of that right now because this live stream could go on and on and on. So tongue mapping, face mapping, and here's something else I always share with anyone who's watching. The first thing I tell to any of my clients is to do what's called a dosha test. And a dosha test is an Ayurvedic body type test. And Ayurveda is, again, a really old brand of medicine. I guess that's one way of putting it. And it's Ayurveda, Ayurveda. And if you've ever heard of the Vedas, that's another thing you can, go down the rabbit hole, is just study Ayurveda, study what the Vedas are all about. But the dosha test is one of the things I always recommend any lupus patient or any of my clients to do. And the dosha test is basically a body type test. And there are 3 body types according to Ayurveda. There's Vata, there's Kapha, and there's Pitta. And a lot of us are a blend of the 2, or some might be. At one point I was just completely Vata. Now I'm a blend of Vata and Pitta. But go on, you can do Google, look up dosha test, DOSHA. Take the dosha test, find out what your body type is. Okay? And when you discover what your body type is, it's going to teach you so much. You're going to wonder, why didn't I know about this before? Why don't doctors tell us about this stuff? Because a lot of the times doctors don't really know anything about this. A lot of doctors will tell you they don't even teach their patients about nutrition. And nutrition is going to be another topic that I discuss. I believe it's next week or the week after. But yes, once you figure out what your dosha type is, it's going to open up a whole new world to you. And you're going to wonder, why didn't I know this before? When you know your dosha results and your dosha body type, then you can go on to determine what foods you should be eating, what foods you should not be eating, what types of herbs are good for you, what types of spices are good for you, what types of oils are good for your body type. And you're going to say, well, I've been eating this particular thing all my life. Now they're telling me it's bad for me. Well, you'll be able to look at your body and determine, was it really good for you? Because chances are it has been sending you signs a lot and you just haven't really paid attention to it. The other thing I want to encourage you to do is to keep a journal. Every morning that you wake up, have this journal specifically for your lupus journey. Whenever you wake up in the morning, look at your face, jot down what's happening in your skin or what's happening on your tongue. Keep a journal. Keep a journal of what you eat on a daily basis. Keep a record, whenever you eat something, wait maybe 30, 40 minutes, see how your body, and this is something I'm going to talk about in more detail when I talk about nutrition for lupus. Keep a record of how your body feels after you've eaten a certain thing. If you find that you're bloated and you've eaten a multi things, try to back up and say, okay, let me split up these 2 or 3 items and eat them individually and see which of these is affecting me. It will completely change your life. It will completely change your world, because a lot of us are eating things that we really shouldn't be eating, and it's affecting us and we're not realizing that it is affecting us. You could eat something now and it may not affect you for another 3 months. With me, I've learned that if I eat a piece of bread tonight, I'm going to feel it come tomorrow morning, and it's going to keep affecting me for probably 3 months. I love bread. It is one of my weaknesses, but I know that I'm not supposed to eat a ton of it, or I'm going to have to be prepared to pay the price the next day and for several weeks later. That's the thing with food. Make sure you keep a journal. I cannot stress that enough. Once you start to figure out what foods are good for you and what are not, it's going to completely change your world. But like I said, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that when we discuss nutrition and lupus. So the dosha test, face mapping, and traditional Chinese medicine as far as face mapping and tongue mapping are concerned. Those are the 2 main things. So what can you work with if you're experiencing any of these issues? Let me explain what I've worked with over the years. Let me find my notes here. Like I mentioned before, I worked with essential oils. I worked with lots of different herbs, and there's so many that I can go into, but I'm going to post the link to my lupus journey. There are 3 articles. One is my lupus diagnosis, and then my herbal journey as well as the essential oil journey. And those 3 articles will discuss in detail the different essential oil blends that I worked with and all of the different herbs that I worked with. I will post them below this live stream once I'm finished. And you will be able to see all of everything that I worked with and tried, decided worked for me, and I know worked for a lot of people. The only thing I know that a lot of people may be allergic to is lavender essential oil, and it's very few and far between. So if you're allergic to lavender, you can simply leave that one off. But lavender is a very powerful herb that I recommend to everyone, right? It's really good for your skin. It's good to drink as a tea. But if you go to those 3 articles, and if you're online now and you want to just go and Google, type my name in, type in Hub Pages, HUB, and Pages, all of my articles will pop up and you'll be able to see everything there. I've documented a lot over the years, and for me to be able to go through all of this stuff now, it would just be like another 3 hours. So take the time to just do a little bit of research into the things I've talked with you about. One of the other things that I do on a regular basis is I use a jade roller. I have a friend here who's a Mary Kay rep, and she has a lot of products that I would like for her to share with you. Some of them I work with on a daily basis as well. And there are a couple other things that I wanted to share with you and I did not bring, but I'm sure you've heard about a jade roller. For my next stream, I will bring those items in and I will talk a little bit about them before. But if you know what a jade roller is, once you start to work with the essential oils on your skin, or whatever oil that you have that is your favorite, you put that on your skin and you use a jade roller that you've kept in the refrigerator. It's nice and chilled. You use that and you roll on your skin. And I'm going to do a demonstration of that for another live stream. But a jade roller, when it's chilled, will tighten those pores. It will cool down your skin. If you have any kind of, rosacea or like hot spots on your skin, that cooled jade roller will tend to soothe your skin, and it'll just feel so good. Tighten your skin at the same time, tighten those pores, and soothe any kind of inflammation that you may have on your skin. So I definitely recommend getting a jade roller. And yeah, let me bring you up and we'll talk about the other products. I work with a product line called Naturally. It is a Mary Kay line, but I work with that in conjunction with a few other things that I make myself. So if you're interested in any of these, I'm going to share those with you. If you are interested in any of them, simply reach out to me on Facebook or on YouTube, because I'm sharing to both Facebook and YouTube right now. And I will explain exactly how they work. Essential oils are so good for the skin. They're so good for the skin. One of the things let me put this down. One of the things that you'll hear me talk about a lot is that the body is designed for plants, right? Fruits, vegetables, herbs, and any of the byproducts of these plants, which we call essential oils. When you start to put chemicals on your skin, you find that you end up with a lot of reactions that you shouldn't have, because your body is designed to heal using plants. I mention this a lot. It is a biblical principle. I am a Christian. I do mention this quite a bit. I'm not telling you this because I'm a Christian. I'm just telling you that, yes, your body is designed to receive plants, as in, the herbs, the essential oils, the foods that you eat, the fruits and vegetables, and it's not designed to receive pharmaceuticals. There is a place for pharmaceuticals, yes, but that's not what your body is designed for. So the quicker you get back to working with things on a more natural basis, the quicker you are going to start to heal. Okay, and that is one of the reasons why I want to share some of these with you. These are all products that are natural, completely natural, certified natural. I also, like I said, make my own, and I've shared a lot of this stuff on Facebook. So if you want to go to Facebook and look that up, it's the Beating Lupus the Natural Way. You will see a lot of these products that I actually share there. As far as nutrition, yeah, let me just grab. Thank you. All right, let me show you one of the. This is actually a whole kit. This is the Naturally line, and it does come with the cleanser. It comes with the moisturizing stick. Let me go. Can I open this? Let me just show you what they look like. And they are certified natural. They do have. There's a seal right. I think it's right there at the top, where there's a certification, and it looks like this. And it has a don't want to open that because the seal is still there, but it's really good packaging. They work really well. This is why I wish I had brought my own that I work with on a regular. Huh? You can open it? Yeah. All right. So let me go ahead and just pop this open. I've been given permission. All right, so it looks like this. It does come with this pretty seal on. I think I have to squeeze it up. Yeah. So this is a moisturizing stick, you see? And let me put that back on. Yeah, so I use the cleanser. The cleanser is amazing. It does not dry out your skin. This is let me see. I work with this every day. This is like the best cleanser. I'm all about natural. You'll know that. I'm pretty sure that, my Facebook page will tell you Beating Lupus the natural way. That should say something. But this, let me tell you something about this. This is my favorite thing out of the line. I use this in addition to the one that I make. This is the Naturally oil, the moisturizing oil. I'm telling you, this is a game changer. And I make some good stuff. Okay, I do. But I use this as well. And if you have any kind of issues going on, this is the thing to get. If you get nothing out of the Naturally line, this is one thing. Actually two, the cleanser and this. Those things are amazing. And you can reach out to me on Facebook, you can reach out to me on YouTube, and I can get these things to you. Or I can also do create your customized blend as well. This is called an exfoliating powder. And what I do is I mix it with the cleanser, and I do a gentle buffing over the skin. It is very gentle. Even if you have the malar rash going on your face, this is very, very gentle to use. And this is it's called the exfoliating powder. I'm not sharing anything with you that I have not tried myself, because one of the things I hear too often about people getting diagnosed with lupus, and it literally breaks my heart every time I hear that, because it's becoming so rampant. It's almost like the thing, it's like, oh, we can't figure out what's wrong with you. You've got lupus. It's like everybody is being diagnosed with lupus these days, and it just is. I remember somebody called me saying they got diagnosed with lupus. I said they may be getting diagnosed with lupus, and then a few days later calling me saying it's been confirmed, and I was crying, because I know what I went through with lupus and the journey it took me to get back to health. And you could be the healthiest person on the planet, something could go wrong, right? So I'm not judging anybody, like it's the food you ate, or it's this, or it's that, because I was one of the healthiest people, I thought, until all of a sudden, that's what we say, all of a sudden, but it's never just all of a sudden. This is stuff that's been building up and building up and building up until one day the body just can't take anymore, and it goes into full-blown, you know, dis-ease, right? And then we get diagnosed with this thing called the disease. So I'm not sitting here telling you either that I'm like perfect, because I have got my cravings. I did confess to you, didn't I?
Yes.
I have, the other day I was like craving potato chips, and I am not a potato chips person, but I just wanted some potato chips. And you see right here, I've got my bottle of juice. You'll see me put all my juices on Instagram, but I wanted some potato chips. So I had some potato chips and I paid for it the next day. So I'm not here to tell you that I'm living the perfect lifestyle as far as lupus is concerned. I am vegan, I will tell you that much. But I do have those moments when you just want some potato chips. So I gave in, but I do end up paying for it the next day. So I'm not sitting here telling you, yeah, I'm not perfect by a long shot, but I'm here to tell you that you can heal from this quote unquote incurable illness that they call lupus. I have done it, and you can do it too. It takes some work, and I can guide you through it. You may find that there's some things that I might share with you that you might say, that's not for me, and that's okay. Not everything that I share with you is going to be for you. You get to decide what you want to work with and what you don't want to work with. I do have two programs that I do run. One of them is it's about 6 to 12 weeks, depending on how quickly you want to do the work. One of them is a kind of a 1 week, really intense program. You can find all of this. I won't go into any details here, but you can find all of this information on my Lupus page if you're interested in it. What I wanted to do today is to just share with you some of these items. And what I'll do is I can post the link to where you can get these. You can also go on my Lupus page and you'll see book now button. I think it's book now or connect with me button. You can click on that and just book an appointment, 20, 30 minutes, completely free. And I can kind of put together, it's just a consultation to see what you're experiencing and how I can help you. Or if you decide that you want to work with me, we can go from there afterwards. But in just that 20 to 30 minutes, I will share with you a lot that you say, oh, you should have been charging me. But, I give away a lot of free stuff. So this is absolutely my pleasure because, like I said, when I see people suffering from lupus unnecessarily, it really just like tugs at my heartstring because I have been there and I've heard the stories that doctors, and I have nothing against doctors. Trust me, there is a place for doctors. The part that I don't like is when they're told that, you're going to have this thing for the rest of your life. There are too many people out there like myself who have been in that boat and have healed from it. And I'm here to tell you that you can too. Am I here to say it's easy? Oh, trust me, it is not an easy journey. It was probably the most difficult journey I've had to do because you really have to sit down and say it. You have to examine your diet. You have to examine your traumas. You have to examine your childhood. You have to examine your relationships. You have to examine everything. Because the thing is, when it comes to an illness, it's not just one thing that caused you to be in the position that we're in. It's a lot of things. So you really have to examine everything. And when it comes to illness, we always say that for me, I always say heal the gut, you'll heal the body. But a lot of people forget that there's a connection between the gut and the brain. And you can't heal one without healing the other. You can't heal your brain without healing your gut. You can't heal your gut without healing your brain. And everything is connected. Your hand is not disconnected from your foot. Your stomach is not disconnected from your shoulder. Everything is there. So you can't just focus on healing one thing. You have to focus on healing the entire body. So you have to heal the mind. You have to heal all of those, whatever unforgiveness you may have lingering, whatever traumas you have lingering, because a lot of illnesses originate with some traumatic experience that you might have had. You could have been 5 years old and then you get to 45 years old and they diagnose you with lupus or some other autoimmune condition and you're as healthy as an ox and you wonder how did I get to this place? So you have to examine everything. It's not just the food you eat, and it's not, just the relationships or whatever the case is. You have to examine everything. And this is where a lot of people fall short, is because they try to stick to or just check out one thing and heal one thing without realizing that there's a lot of other stuff. I'm going to recommend a book. It just popped into my head and I actually have it. It's called The Body Keeps the Score. And if you hear nothing else from this live stream, I want you to hear that. The Body Keeps the Score. I don't remember who wrote it, but it's something that I recommend a lot of people read. And it will, when you read that book, I think it'll kind of cement everything that I've talked about today. Your gut, they say your immune system, majority of it lives in your gut area, right? So when you heal your gut, you're going to heal pretty much your whole body. When you experience stress, you experience a lot of it in your gut area. And when it's affected here, you tend to see, like, issues with your shoulders. When your stomach hurts, or when you grab your stomach, your shoulders tend to go up, right? When you have issues with your gut area, you find that there might be brain fog, because there is that connection. So if you've ever experienced anything, if you had a really bad traumatic experience back when you were 10 and you thought, oh, I'm fine, or you thought you were fine, but you really didn't do anything to heal from it, chances are that could be affecting who you are today. So read that book, The Body Keeps the Score. That's another one, The Body Keeps the Trauma. There's a few books. My friend just showed me another one called The Body Keeps the Trauma. There's the other one is The Body Keeps the Score. It's basically the same kind of information, but read that and you'll learn a lot about how you can really completely heal from whatever it is that you're going through, whatever diagnosis that you might be given. Because one of the things, and I'm going to say this and then I'm going to stop here, okay? Because I could really talk a lot on this topic. When I was healing from lupus and I did all the food examinations, I did the dosha tests, I tried all of the essential oils, I tried the herbal stuff, and I was doing really well. But then I took this course and I really started to learn about traumatic experiences and how they can trigger illnesses. And that is really when the healing started to take place. Because the thing is with traumatic experiences, you have a lot of reasons. One of the big reasons why people tend to experience, illnesses and really can't heal from it is because there's a lot of unforgiveness. And I remember when this clicked in my mind, the traumatic experience, the big one, and then a few little ones that occurred, and I sat down and I started to write letters. And some people might be dead, some of them are still alive. If they're dead, that's fine. You can still write a letter of forgiveness. If they're still alive, you can approach the person and you can say, you know what, whatever it is that you did to me, I forgive you. Or if that is, not an option, you can simply write a letter. But forgiveness is huge when it comes, and I know I'm kind of getting off topic with the skin part, but you'll notice that anything that is happening within your body, it manifests itself on your skin. Your skin is like this large detox organ. So whatever you're feeling on the inside, chances are it's going to manifest itself on the outside, on your skin. So all of these different traumatic experiences that you might have gone through, you have to heal from them. You have to heal from them. Forgiveness is huge when it comes to healing. And that, like I said, this is going to be a whole other discussion, but I wanted to, throw that in since that popped into my head. Because trauma underlies a lot of the illnesses that people are going through, and they don't even realize it. We pop a pill for depression and not realize that the depression that you're experiencing could be something that happened when you were some traumatic experience years and years ago that you really didn't heal from, or you didn't take the time to, process anything, but your doctor just simply gives you a pill and say, here, take this pill, you've got depression, deal with it. And then you go through maybe a couple hours of therapy but nobody really addresses the underlying factors of those trauma, and that's where the real healing really begins. I'm going to stop there because I think how long has this live stream been? Quite a bit. So anyway, back to the skin. If you'd like a consult, go to my Lupus page, or even on this live stream and just simply put in, consults, and I will reach out to you. Or you can simply reach out to me on the Lupus page and book, or just look for book now, and you'll get a 20 to 30-minute free consult, and we can talk a little bit more about how I can help you. If you would like these products, I can simply post a link in the comment section, and you'll be able to go ahead and purchase those for yourself. If you'd like for me to create a customized blend for you, I can do that as well. That will take a one-on-one, so I'll be able to actually see you and be able to see your skin. Or you can just simply take a picture and send to me and say, look, this is what my skin looks like right now. Help me. Okay. But there's plenty of ways of working with me. You can find me on YouTube. Lots of videos there as far as my lupus journey is concerned. You'll be able to find a lot of free information there. You can find me on Instagram. I talk a lot about nutrition on Instagram. And lately I've been posting a lot of my juicing recipes. For those of you who are not familiar, this is literally just the juice of a lot of different herbs and fruits and vegetables. There's no water in there, just pure juice, run through a juicer. And it's what I like to refer to as living energy. It goes in and it heals you down to a cellular level. It's not just going inside to heal your stomach. It's healing you on a cellular level. So like I said, the next week, I'm going to be talking about nutrition. That's going to be a big topic, because to me, that is like the huge topic when it comes to healing from illness. You can do everything else, but what goes into your body, if it's not good, it's not going to heal you. Okay. You can do all of the good stuff, all the right stuff, but if you are not putting the proper nutrition into your body, you are doing your body a disservice, and you will not be able to heal. I see you, son. So I will definitely reach out to you. And if you want to just go to the Lupus page as well, it's Beating Lupus the Natural Way. Can you just put that in the comment section for me, please? My Lupus page, and then you'll be able to just book a consult there as well. But Santoya, I see your comment. All right, Beating Lupus the Natural Way. So you'll also be able to find lots of free information on my Lupus page on Facebook. There's going to be a little bit of changes to my Lupus page, but it's going to be the same kind of information, because initially I started out with, just reaching out to people who've been diagnosed with lupus. But I found that there's a lot of people diagnosed with lupus and other autoimmune conditions. And then there are people who are following that page who just want to get healthy. They just want to learn about nutrition and how to prevent themselves from getting sick. So there's going to be a little bit of change to the Lupus page, but it's going to be me still, and it's going to be the same powerful information that you're going to be receiving. Okay, so don't go in and unfollow simply because the name has changed. You'll see it'll still be me there. And one of the things is kind of an aside. I think it was last year sometime I did a live stream. This is a live stream. I got a call after one particular live stream from someone who was watching, and they said, I just needed to call you back. They actually called me on Facebook Messenger on a video, and they said, I really needed to just see your face, because I wasn't sure if that was a live stream or you were, kind of pretending. I really needed to see your skin to see if it was for real. So I'm sitting here. This is a live stream. This is my skin. I'm not making this stuff up. I do have on a little bit of makeup, but there's, very, very little foundation on. You can see my skin. And if I had a malar rash, you'd still be able to see it because there's not a ton of makeup that would actually cover up the malar rash. So for those of you who may be having doubts, this is a live stream. This is my skin, right?
Right.
This is my skin. Um, I can help you if you do want me to help. But for those of you who needed to see that needed that confirmation, this is me. One of the things I did not mention, let me mention it now. You'll see in one of the articles that I will post on the hub pages. I think it's the one where I talk about my lupus diagnosis. I talk about the way that lupus affects your mouth, because now we're talking about skin. You do have the inside of your mouth, right? There was a time when I had like 10 or 15 ulcers, and if you're familiar with lupus and how it, and oral ulcers, you know how painful those things are. I healed within a matter of, I think, about six or 7 days from about 15. Imagine having 15 of those things inside of your mouth. That was painful. I think it's been about 6 years or 7 years since I've gotten one of those. So I'm here to tell you, I know what you're going through. I know, believe me, I know. I am sitting here, I'm not talking to you from somebody who's, oh, I can just imagine what you're feeling. No, I've been there. I know the pain. I've experienced it, and I've healed from it. So that is what this is about. I'm here to tell you that you don't sit there and feel like you don't have any options. Don't sit there and feel like that it's the end just because a doctor says that it is. You do have a choice. You can heal. Your body is designed to heal. It is designed to heal. All you have to do is watch your skin after a few days of getting a minor cut. It heals itself. Your body can heal itself as well. You just have to do the work. It does take work. It took me about almost 10 years of trial and error and research and getting certified in this thing and certified in the next thing. So that's another thing. I'm sitting here with certifications in a lot of different fields, but I'm also sitting here. My big certification is a healed lupus patient. That is what I'm here to tell you. You can heal from it. I hope that information I gave you tonight helps in some small way. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. Like I said, I am, what's the address where I am? 1210. I'm going to tell you where I'll be next week. I'm at 1210 Millennium Parkway in Brandon, but I'll also be doing a live stream. So if you want to come down and meet me in person, I will be at 1210 Millennium Parkway, Brandon, in Brandon, Florida. Let me clarify the state there. 1210 Millennium Parkway in Brandon, Florida. So if you want to come down and meet me in person, I'm going to be here. No, next Friday is going to be all about nutrition. I believe it is next Friday. But I'm going to be doing a lot of different things like art therapy, and I'll be doing sound therapy. So I'll have a lot of my different sound instruments. And that's another thing that I work with is the vibration of sound and using sound to heal your body. And I talk a little bit about that in another live stream, but that one is going to be a powerful experience, so you don't want to miss that. Okay, I did a short one just as an just to kind of demonstrate some of the tools that I work with, and I got an email, not an email, I got a Facebook Messenger message from someone that said basically, I just happened to pop onto your live stream, and it was towards the end when you were playing your instruments, and it captivated me, and at the end of it I just felt so good. And she said she had to go back and play the video from the beginning and listen to it again because it made her just feel so good. And that's another modality that I work with is sound therapy, using singing bowls and other instruments. And sound is a powerful, powerful therapy. If you've ever listened to nature sounds, you know what I'm talking about. So I will let you know whenever that particular one is taking place. You will see it all over Facebook and Instagram. So you can definitely tune in for that. But it will be live here at 1210 Millennium Parkway in Brandon, Florida, or you can watch it as a live stream as well. I hope that was informational. I know I talked a little bit more about other stuff, not just the skin. But if you do have any questions, it doesn't have to be just about the skin. Please feel free to reach out to me. Check out any of my social media pages. I'm all over the place. Just type in my name and I'm going to pop up. You might see things like Gina Welds host. That's also me. But you'll find a lot of information, and any questions you have whatsoever about autoimmunity, about lupus, about healing from lupus or whatever, just getting healthier, how to eat properly, feel free. Send me a message. I think my phone number is also on the card that I posted, so you can also call me. Just don't call me past 10 o'clock at night, please. Some of us actually like to sleep. So, but anyway, Monday to Friday, you can feel free to call me. You can even call me on the weekends, but I may not necessarily answer. It'll go to voicemail and I'll reach out to you come the next Monday. If it is an emergency and you just have to talk to me over the weekend, then just, put in the text message or something, say emergency, I must speak with you. Okay? And I will reach out to you. I understand. Okay? Completely understand. All right, so thank you so much. I know it's been over an hour, but thank you. I think at one point there was like 14 people watching. Thank you so much for joining in. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and you can always come down and see me live if you're in the Tampa Bay area. And if not, then certainly watch me live again next week. And to those of you who actually came here live, thank you so much. I appreciate you all being here. And I will see you all again on the next one where we talk about lupus and nutrition. But if you don't want to wait until then, feel free to just jump on my YouTube channel and check out all of the videos that I have on there talking about nutrition and other lupus topics. And you can also go to my lupus page on Facebook and get a lot of free information there as well. All right. See you all again real soon. I love you guys, and know that there is hope. You have a choice. You can heal. Okay? See you all again soon.